This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevor's tested waters help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevor's tested waters help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat.
Hey guys, it's me, Travis with PlayerProps.ai, and this is what we're locking in for Thursday's MLB games. Quick recap, yesterday we hit everything we said we were going to hit. We started the show yesterday talking about NBA. We looked at Josh Giddey points, and then decided, you know what, let's just do MLB as the focus as well, because that's typically what we've been doing since MLB season started. Josh Giddey over points hit easily, even though the Bulls are now eliminated from the playoffs. He still got his points up. And then our baseball play that we finished on was Chris Bubik, Kansas City Royals over 5.5, and he hit as well. So went 2-0 with the show yesterday. And now we're just going to get back right to it. There's no NBA games today. Tomorrow is the final play-in games. So both 10 seeds won, which was interesting. And now the 10 seeds are versing the 8 seeds that lost. So both matchups are 10-8. And then whoever loses that's eliminated from the playoffs. Whoever wins that's got to verse the number 1 seeds, which is Oklahoma City and Cleveland. And as the playoffs roll along, we may throw some shows out there. This Monday through Friday show that are NBA focused. But for right now, because there's definitely no NBA games today, we're going to focus on baseball again. So let's go ahead and flip the script here, pop, and see what we can find for Thursday, April 17th. Now, something to pay attention to. So it looks like, I've mentioned this. I mention this in the Discord all the time. And I don't know if I mentioned this enough on the show. But you think that the multi-billion-dollar sports books that exist, the FanDuels, the DraftKings, all of them, they would have like zero flaws, zero issues because they're literally multi-billion-dollar companies. But when they send us feeds of, you know, what their lines are, what the games are, who the players are, what the player lines, odds, all that stuff that we incorporate into our tools, both here and the comparison tools on the site and the app, they make mistakes all the time. So one of them I was going to address, which doesn't really matter to you guys, but just frustrating. So you see how like at the top here in the game side of things, we have Arizona, Miami, 12:35, Arizona, Miami, 12:40. So at one point, DraftKings said, this game's going to be a 12:35 game. And they're like, no. This is going to be a 12:40 game. And so because they can't figure out when the games start, the feed that we pull the data from gives us 2 different game times. So it's not really an issue. If you want to know what times the games start, you just have to look at the times underneath the player names. So if you do see the sportsbook screw things up and give us 2 different game start times because nobody on their team knows what they're doing, you can just come down here. So let's say, for example, there were 2 Pitt-Washington games. You're like, well, I don't know which one's the right one. Well, you just come down here. Andrew Heaney, Pitt, 12:40 p.m. Okay, so 12:40 p.m. Eastern time, that's when the game's starting. So don't necessarily pay attention to these first. Make sure you pay attention to these first. But that's not really a thing. I just wanted to throw the sports books under the bus for being dumb. But yeah, so let's go ahead and continue in here. Do what we always do. Move this to 3. Actually, there was a line yesterday that was at the top for percentage difference for strikeouts. It was 2.5, which is below our minimum 3, and that line hit. So it's not saying that these filters don't say that things outside of the filtered range won't hit. This is just my personal preference on what I see hit most often, and we have crushed it so far this MLB season with following my personal preferences, and which is I'm teaching to you, because there's a lot of people, they'll download this PlayerProps.ai app and they're like, I don't know how to use it. They'll watch the video and they'll be like, okay, but I still have extra questions. So the goal is that these videos that I do answer all other questions, and it's okay if you have more questions. There are so many people out there afraid to ask, and it drives me crazy because like we are the most welcoming, the most helpful community in the sports betting space in North America. If you have a question, it doesn't matter how dumb you think it is, ask the question. Nobody's going to make fun of you. Nobody's going to troll you. Even if the question is as simple as what is sports betting or what is a sports book, just ask it. You can ask it in the public channels in Discord, or you can shoot me a DM on Discord and ask it that way. Always ask. Please do not give up on yourself before asking. If you're struggling to understand anything that we're talking about, anything that the Discord says, anything that these videos say or the app says, just ask. You remove all chances of you being a successful bettor by just looking at this app and being like, I don't know, and then just quitting and then saying like, I don't want to do this anymore. You can. That's your right. But do not quit on yourself. Do not give up on yourself until you've done asking all the questions you have. That's probably the most frustrating thing in my role as CEO and founder of this app is the people give up without ever asking for help. Especially because we broadcast how helpful we are and how welcoming we are. I don't know. If you need help, please. It doesn't matter what kind of help it is. If it's a question about sports betting, it's a question about the app. If you're struggling and you might think that you have some addictive tendencies and you want help that way, it doesn't matter what the help is. Even if it's a life coach helping, I don't care. If you need help, ask me the question that you have. Do not just give up. It's very, very frustrating to see people give up because I know that I can help every single person who applies themselves. There's a guarantee with PlayerProps.ai. The guarantee is if you come into PlayerProps.ai and you follow all of the guidelines, the capital ALL, all, you follow all the guidelines, it's a guarantee that you are going to lose less often. Do not give up on yourself. Ask questions. Anyway, let's continue here. Okay, so there are absolutely zero overplays today for strikeouts. So the highest difference is 18, and that's a 4.5 line and a 5.3 projection. So there's two players who have these minimums that the filters suggest that have an over projection, but it's not even close to being 1.0. So then we're going to flip it to the unders, and it looks like technically there's two. No, there's three. So we have Sagano, Kochinovic, Jack. We're going to call him Jack. We have Jack and then Rocker. Now, oh my gosh, I freaking hate Rocker. I had this guy to my fantasy team, and he had 2 starts last week. In both starts, he just completely sucked. But even though I hate him, if we look at the under odds, he's actually favored to go over. He's supposed to have good strikeout stuff. He just can't stop letting the opposite team score. But we're not going to touch this one because it's got the sportsbooks favoring the over. So technically, there's 2 trifecta plays that we can actually look at. We have Sagano versus Cleveland, and then we have Jack. I'm not going to try it. Jack versus Texas. So before I click and look at them at all, let's go to is it Team Trends? Yeah, Team Trends is what we're going to look at. Go to Team Trends. So we're looking at what again? Cleveland and Texas. So we want teams that are not striking out because we're going under plays. Texas is the 5th least strikeoutiest team, 7.5, and then Cleveland is top 10 least strikeoutiest team. So then we go back to the predictor, knowing that we have 2 things in the top 10. Texas is top 5, Cleveland's top 10. They both have a 3.5 line. There's a 1.07 difference on Jack, but then there's a crazy difference on Sagano. Now Sagano, we played him. He was part of our 411. Was that what Friday was? So he was part of our 411. Yeah, hold on. 411 show where he said go under on him, and then his game was postponed. And so he started on Saturday. So if you still played what I told you to play on Saturday, where you only got 0 strikeouts, we easily hit the under 3.5. 3.5 is a very low strikeout line. So when you're going under, it's very, very risky. But this guy's not striking out righties, 6.5%. He's not striking out lefties. Hold on, let me scroll this up to make sure it's on the screen. 9.7% strikeout rate against lefties. Abysmal 6.5% against righties. Everybody we've looked at since we've added this advanced data feature for and talked about on the show, nobody's ever been less than 10% on both sides. 0 strikeouts in his last game against Toronto versus Cleveland, a top 10 strikeout, least strikeoutiest team. So is he going to be able to get 4 against Cleveland before he gets pulled? Well, it's not what it looks like. And then Jack, let me look at Jack real quick here. So Jack has had 3 starts this season, 4 strikeouts, and then against the non-strikeout team of Houston, you only got 1. His projection's like a little bit higher than Sagano's, but if you look at his advanced data, he strikes out lefties okay. 20% is kind of what we look for, 20% or higher, but he's not striking out righties. So I think this other guy, Tamayuki, who only has 3 starts to his name, he didn't pitch, he wasn't a pitcher here last year in the MLB, 1, 4, 0. So he's got 1 against Toronto here, 0 against Toronto here. Kansas City technically is a team that doesn't strike out too often, and that's his only time he covered this line. But I mean, everything else here is pointing this guy's not going to hit the 3.5. So what I want to do now is I want to see, can we find Sagano at a higher line, or can we find Jack at a higher line? So Sagano is Baltimore. Every book, also, so we're always adding new features, new tools, right? If you always play around with the app every day and try to see if there's any new things added if you don't see the announcements. But we actually just added Fanatics. There's a handful of people request this, adding Fanatics sportsbook odds and stuff. So we added that to the comparison tools and also to the drop-down menus. But it looks like every book that we have has the 3.5 line for Tamayuki. And then the other one we were looking at was Jack. Everybody's got a 3.5 line for Jack. But I think Tamayuki is what we're looking at here. Yeah. So I don't know, because he's a very new pitcher, so I don't know. Haven't watched him pitch, so I don't know if he's like a fly out pitcher or a ball ground pitcher or like a ground out pitcher. So what that means is his entire repertoire of his pitches aren't designed to strike people out. He's designed to make you swing at something, hit it in the dirt, and then have his defense on the field get you out before you hit first base. So that's kind of what I'm understanding about him, not even watching him. That could be wrong, but that's the gist I get. But yeah, so I think that's what we're going with today here. Hopefully we continue this winning streak, lock it in, and for the love of all that's holy. This is not sarcasm. This is not joking. If you need help, ask me a question. You can ask me a question at any minute of any day. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. my time, 5 a.m. my time, 2 p.m. my time, 11. I don't care. If you need help, ask me a question. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning. For those that don't listen to me and just turn on the video and fast forward to the end, and you didn't catch the first part because you fast forwarded to the end, like a psychopath, and you missed all the good stuff we talked about from now till then. The most frustrating thing about all the people I'm trying to help is when people give up without asking for help. This works. This works for a ton of people. It works for everybody who applies themselves. If you follow all of our guidelines, this is guaranteed to make you lose less often. So if you're playing around, let's say you upgrade your account, you're playing around with everything, and you're like, man, I'm still losing a lot of picks. What do you think the first thing that you should think about is? Not, let me just quit. It's clearly I'm seeing everyone else in Discord having a great time, winning a lot of money. I must be doing something wrong. Let me ask the CEO what I'm doing wrong and see if he can find the inefficiencies or flaws in what I'm doing to help correct them so I can start having the great days that everyone else in Discord seems to be having. Please just ask. Stop giving up on yourself. There is a path to being a successful bettor. You just have to follow all the guidelines. If you don't understand them, ask. If you think you're following them and you want to show me what you've bet the past few days, just ask. My DMs are always open. 24/7, 365. Just ask. Good luck, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.